All right, I think we're streaming. Matt, what's up, buddy?
Sunny, hey, nice to connect with you again, my friend. So excited to dive into what have you got in store for me?
What have I got in store for you? Well, where on earth are you right now?
I am calling from Australia, down under, where I grew up, and yeah, where everything started. What about yourself? You're in
Hmm.
Montreal?
And we were talking. No, well, I was in Montreal over the past weekend, but almost got snowed in and had a. But anyways, things turned out perfectly okay. But we were talking about this on our last call. Isn't it cool how like you're literally on the other side of the planet and we're just like chatting and
Yeah,
now
crazy.
potentially sharing with millions of oh wait no zero. See, it's still zero. People need some time to come in.
Oh,
No,
they'll
it's
come. The millions will come for sure.
the
I
millions
can
will
sense
come. Yes.
it.
So Matt, we're kind of unfortunately tight on time. We started a bit late. We got lost in conversation again. We can just make this a short like intro and then bring you back, to go deeper into some of these topics. But share with people kind of your backstory. Yeah, like where were you born and raised, and yeah, what did your worldview look like before you got into entrepreneurship and AI and all the cool stuff we're going to talk about in a few minutes.
Yeah, sure. Like, obviously, grew up here in Australia. Just your standard middle class background, and I guess going through school. I didn't like school a lot, although I was able to just coast through and just get by. I guess into university, and I guess within me was this entrepreneur that I didn't understand. So I hated the bell. I hated authority. I was very ADHD at school. But then finally, obviously, just I wanted to make as much money as I could when I left. At that time, when I enrolled in university, geologists were getting paid like second to dentist graduates. So I was just like, I'll do that and I will learn geology and I'll go make some great money. So that's how I became an underground coal geologist. So that's this weird sort of origin story I have before doing something radically different.
So you were an underground coal geologist. That is, we could probably do a podcast on that alone. But let's switch gears. That's crazy. Like just to even think of that. I grew up in Fort McMurray, Alberta. So my dad worked in in the oil sands. My first three, maybe four summer co-op terms were all up there, and so I'm always fascinated by like the scale of some of these places, right? But take us, I guess, in terms of like where did you after that? What came, and how did you find yourself into the like entrepreneurship world?
Yeah, so I guess like within me, I watched my dad work from home growing up, and I always wanted that.
Mm.
And I guess so. I had this fascination with these people that were working online, I guess. And one of my friends, we had this dinner, and they were like, "Oh, have you heard about Facebook ads?" And I was like, "Oh no." He's just like, "You might want to check it out. Like some people are making some money with it." So I'm like, "Well, I need a work from home job somehow because I can't be like obviously there's no internet underground." And so I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So I bought this ebook like 2011. I was like, okay, so I've got to run Facebook ads and I can make money driving traffic to an affiliate thing or something. So yeah, eventually we did that. It was crazy. Like I remember finally leading into like I could have stayed on and like the mine was changing. And I trained up someone under me to take over the mine duties. And I wanted to take the redundancy because I just was like, I'm going to take this redundancy and all that cash I got from it, which was not a lot. It was like 20K or something. That was going to be my savings and also my fodder for Facebook ads learning. And I just went all in. And it was a bit crazy. I thought, what's the worst that can happen? Obviously, I can go back to mining, but I'm just going to like take this amount of money I'm going to get, and I'm just going to, throw that at the Facebook casino, and that's what I did.
Did it work out, or was
Well,
it?
so no, not initially. So it was actually quite disturbing. So particularly is it's just sort of this like horrific crash course you go through of okay, so I'm going to throw money at the wall and then hope whatever sticks here. But then as that money's depleting, and I'm just like, oh my, like I'm just like going down and down and down and down and down. And I'm just like, my campaigns weren't working. I was losing all this money. So it's just sort of this like horrific crash course of learning ads, psychology. It's sort of like Hunger Games, the movie Hunger Games, where this is like everyone's getting cut down. I thought
Yeah.
I was certainly the next one that was going to be up in the sky. But eventually, I remember when I hit this green campaign on a lead gen thing, I was promoting apps and I was promoting this app in Taiwan for a game company, and I found super cheap traffic in Taiwan. I didn't know how to speak, obviously, the language like Chinese, so I was using like online translation tools to like turn my copy in English into Chinese. But that's when I first unlocked my first campaign that was in the green. I remember just like my wife coming up, she knew like how stressed I was, and I'm like, I'm finally making some money. I made like $100 a day, like which was less than I was making underground, but that those sorts of experiences you never forget. Like that's sort of like that's just how it all starts, right? Like that's when you yeah, you'll never forget that first little bit of like maybe I can do this.
What did that feel like?
Yeah, I mean, like, well, obviously, coming from this nice career trajectory that you have, I was earning, early six figures in my twenties, mid twenties, and so, like, you have this story around yourself, right? And this is, I think, part of the big issue when people that I've coached or mentored or whatever, as they've gone out and started their own thing, is like you have to transfer your brain from a very certain world to a very uncertain world. And then managing that transition is emotionally very, depending on how conditioned you are to this thing, very, very, very difficult. Because if I would lose $400 or $500, that's like a day rate, right? That I'm throwing down, and I know how hard that work is to reclaim. Like, I don't want to have to like. I was consistently like exchanging how much money I'd wasted on campaigns and then how much time that would have taken me to earn underground. And it's just becomes yeah, at that point, like I didn't understand completely what was happening, but that was me like learning to tolerate risk, see money as energy and not associated with my time. And yeah, but that's also just theoretically, you can read a book or like a business book and be like, oh, sure, like it's all just energy. You know, you just got to learn, you got to buy data. But when that's the only way that you've earned money is like your own personal cash, it feels radically different. Um, but yeah, a good crash course in how to learn a media buy and to be detached from my outcomes. But it wasn't like that at all. It was just terrifying. And I guess I was just ashamed of being a failure, or just everyone's just like, oh, Matt, just doing his thing, like, the rolling of the eyes, or just like the little bit of concern. Are you sure what you're doing is? And you'd have to have this mentality of like, I am on this path. It will work out, which I know you probably have experienced as well. So that was extremely tough.
Yeah, countless times. And that take us into kind of like your, I guess, your AI. What was the first time you had exposure to it, and when did you start to think about building companies that would, deeply integrate with it?
Yeah, sure. Well, the AI question came much obviously later. Like I had many successes and failures between this time period, so it's sort of like a condensed history. But the main one that Sarah and I we launched this company, it's still functioning, and we're really proud of. Is called Goodness Lover, which is like a health and wellness company. And so Goodness Lover, we put on as many free events as we can. We basically interview experts, and we put this up online for people to watch for free. If they like it, they buy it, and they join our community. And we also have supplements and things on the back end of that to help support everything we're doing there. So it was a enormous content. It was extremely rewarding. We scaled our audience to over like 1.8 million people have been through our events. A list of over 1 million people that we serve, which was so awesome. But like over years, it was extremely taxing. So we just had this natural content fatigue. You know, like serving this amount of people, putting on these events. It's a huge amount of words. It's a huge amount of work. So when AI came around in its really early days, even if it could alleviate some of that pain or some of that burden on our team, it was something that I knew we had to really invest in. So it's sort of like I remember having my first real decent conversation with the LLM, like in the super. This is like the early days of when ChatGPT was just like getting access to the API, and it wasn't super smart, but like it was sort of like that first experience I ever had when I logged online and used the internet for the first time. I was like, I remember that clearly. Me being a little in primary school, it was the internet monitor where we went. They took us to the university to learn about the internet. I remember that moment very clearly. I remember that also moment very clearly when I saw this technology, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is going to change the world." Obviously, you could see the projection of where it was going, but yeah, I guess as well, I was in enough pain in terms of content pain and like needing to produce all these words, and that's what an LLM, particularly originally, was quite good at. Um, Despite its many flaws, particularly at the start. So that's when it all began for me.
So I'd asked you a question the last time we spoke as well around this symbiosis between, human ingenuity and what we're still kind of excelling at, in, like from a writing perspective, versus where these LLMs are, doing so well. So how do you build a business around that? Like what, yeah, where do the humans excel? Like I'm excited because, as you know, I love this AI stuff and I find it absolutely delightful, right? But there's always this question around, oh, it's replacing humans, or is it augmenting us? Is it helping us kind of extend our intention? And like, how do you kind of see, AI play out from that perspective?
It's a great question, and I think many people smarter than me are also attempting to answer that question. But I can give you my sort of on the ground playing with these tools for many, 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 many months, years, painfully seeing their early, particularly early stage, their limitations and whatnot. But I think like it's interesting as you sort of monitor and as I've tested these different models and different things with this task of like how does an AI or an LLM represent a person or a brand, right? It's a really interesting question because you can approach an LLM, you can ask it a question in this like amazing Socratic dialogue where it has this immense amount of resources it can pull upon. But I guess the missing element of this is like what does it actually understand about your business and what does it actually understand about you? So say it's the Sunny ratio, and we'll just use you as an example. Like, what does it understand about your backstory? What does it understand about you? And unless that data is out there on the internet somewhere that it has been trained on, and for some of the clients and people that I've worked with, yes, it is out there. Like they understand their YouTube channel and all that. But like for most people, most businesses, it has no idea. So you have this like I don't know, like this nuclear reactor, and like most businesses are making toast with it. Like all you like you've got this immense amount of power sitting there, but you also need to do this dance with the LLM where you also input the right data around who you are, how you see the world, your unique worldviews. And when you combine these two things, it's sort of like when I really started to see AI become like extremely, extremely helpful, particularly from a content demand. And for the stressed out founders that know they need to be doing more content, they know how expensive it is to go and try and hire a really good writer. And that really good like ghostwriter or copywriter that could come in and sort of listen to their story over a few months, learn their patterns, learn those speaking things, like learn those really weird nuance and quirks, which actually makes great copy. And we send like literally billions. We've sent billions of emails. So I've seen this at scale as to what gets attention, what people gets people to engage. And the LLMs, if they can learn that about your business, if I can learn that about you, if they can sort of understand who you are and how you think and see the world, then you have this amazing interface going on. But what I see typically is like the average person would be like relying on the very superficial memory from like ChatGPT or something, which is like a few dot points. Like it has a superficial understanding of you that can be helpful, but man, like the AI can do so much more than that. Like there's this enormous amounts of context windows that you have to play with where you can do this exchange between what it knows and what it understands about you. And that for me is sort of like changing the game on that human AI interface, I think. If that makes sense.
Oh, totally. And that because it's you're I mean, in a way, really at the bleeding edge of this, right? I mean, in terms of you have the experience and the team around you to be able to assess how good are they at writing versus
Mm.
like me trying to like make a guess on it, right? So that's why I was very interested in asking you
Well, I
about
guess
that.
for us, it makes a meaningful difference. Like if we have an open rate that goes up by 20%, that's like a huge amount of more people that we reach on our list. Like I
Yeah.
guess because of those numbers. And so it's not like, oh, we could just start putting AI GPT slop through it. Like it would really impact our business. So if it didn't perform at sort of like at an A level, like it's really not worth our time, right? We might as well get a human to do it because it can do it. And we still do. And that's why I just don't think we're at this point of like AI agents are taking over and it's going to be doing everything.
Right, right, right.
The human element that I think is really interesting is like cross domain, like quickly thinking across domains. Like AIs they obviously can access all these sort of bits of data, but it's like this fire hose of irrelevant data that often you have to filter through. And I think a human's role with this is like I see it as like a symbiosis. That human creativity of switching domains and thinking across different domains creatively, and then interacting with the AI to then support them on that can really is where you get massive lift. Um, Obviously, AIs have improved a lot, but you'll be surprised if you spend a lot of time talking to an LLM and and noticing the patterns that it starts going through. And for example, like you wanting to promote a product to your email list, right? And there's this like there's many different persuasion frameworks you can use. There's many different types of copy and content you could actually go with. But AI is like obsessed with problem agitate solution. And it's obsessed about it for a few things. It'll be like, oh, here's it's a Sunny from the Sunny ratio. Are you wanting to learn more about AI? Are you wanting to learn about business? Blah, blah, blah. Well, I've got the solution for you. It's a Sunny ratio. Like it's a very predictable pattern that it's been trained on. And sort of like the AI is aware of these other persuasion frameworks, but it just has certain biases that you need to detect and make sure that it's like exploring a whole variety of different ones. And then once you get to that point, you get more of this less predictable patterns, AI slop coming out. But it is
Mm.
insane because it's literally affecting our consciousness because it's literally changing the way we think and talk with everyone using all these tools and
Okay, so
particularly ChatGPT.
maybe that can be the title of our next stream, AI and consciousness.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have some weird esoteric stuff we could go down there
Yeah.
from
And,
there.
and Matt, I appreciate your time. Like I said, we definitely, it feels like we're just kind of like we're at the stretching phase, not even the actual working out part. Like, so we gotta do this one again. And I had like literally over 20 questions lined up. I've touched none of them. So,
Yeah, all good,
but,
man. I'd
but thanks for your,
love to
yeah, I
chat to you anytime.
appreciate, yeah, I like to keep them under 20 minutes or so, just because like, but like it gives me an opportunity to touch base once again, maybe next week or something, we can throw something in and go a little bit deeper into some of these topics. Yeah, but this is a good intro section. So thank you everyone for listening in.
Awesome.